What do you make of the recent volatility we've seen in Bitcoin? Is it par for the course for somebody who's been looking at it for longer, or does something feel new about this?
Something feels new, not in terms of the volatility, it's roughly where it has been. It's been choppier, basically since March to May, Bitcoin top first, then Ethereum. They really haven't broken out again. So they've been this big kind of sloppy range that goes up and down a lot. And I've been thinking about that because normally, at this point in the crypto cycle, you'd have seen mass retail participation and this explosive run. I was expecting it, as was many. Hasn't materialized. Why? Now, is there a structural change in the market? Or is it because crypto is discretionary spending or discretionary investment? And if you've raised prices on people, they have less money, retail participation, to put into crypto. Maybe that's why the flow. So we've not seen the kind of number of new wallets and all of the other metrics follow when we had the recent high, and it makes me think that people don't have money to put in.
That would be a cause. What if it's a symptom? What if they feel insecure and they see it as a risk asset and they don't want
see it as a risk asset because the narrative is like, this is a long-term inflation hedge.
Yeah.
And we'll talk a bit about that because it's not traditional inflation, it's actually about central bank debasement. And the central bank debasement is slowing its rate of change because they're tapering, i.e. they're injecting less money each month in. It's that it reacts to and not to inflation numbers. They're two different things. Okay. We're talking about inflation that's running at 6-7% a year. Well, Bitcoin's up 100% and Ethereum's up 500%. So it's more than accommodated. But people think it needs to be tick for tick correlated.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
What it is a long-term method for sidestepping the devaluation of fiat currency, along with, more importantly, a call option in the future of technology and Web3 and all of the new things that are being built.
Yeah. Is Bitcoin going to hit 50K? That's from one of our viewers. Is ETH going to outperform Bitcoin over the next? Should we be looking at price levels and that? It almost seems like it's the same way we used to view stock prices. Is that the way we should be thinking about this technology? And I think this is...
Some people are traders. They're short-term, they want to buy and sell. I don't think that's the right thing to do in exponential trends. They're volatile by nature. All you're looking for is what is the network adoption? Are people joining the network? Are people building on top of it? That's all that matters because price will follow. So trying to figure out, where the price is going to be at any one point in time. And I wrote a tweet thread about this. It's like, there are no gurus. Nobody knows. Everyone's just trying to figure it out best we can based on the experience that we have. And the market will go where it goes. But the hypothesis, that's the thing you need to test. And the hypothesis is not, does Bitcoin go down to 40K? Does it end the year here? It's not that. The hypothesis is, if we're right, this whole Web3 revolution means there is a mass adoption of this space. Is that happening? And by all accounts, all we're seeing is continued adoption. But what is going on is we're building the third version of the internet, of which we can participate and own parts of it. So the difference I've explained before is, if you think of Facebook, it's one of the biggest networks on earth. We got the benefit of using the network and connecting with our friends and family, and the shareholders got rich because of network effects, Metcalfe's law.
Because they owned it.
Because they owned it. Now,
we used it, and we were the commodity in many cases.
And what it did, it concentrated the power into Facebook, Google, and these others. This new part is a decentralization of that entire structure. We're pulling apart that structure and rebuilding it by giving the network participants ownership of the network too. So that creates massive behavioral incentives for this to work, because suddenly you want this to work because the value of the network is going to go up, and because you own a part of the network, the token, you're going to make money from it. That's incredibly powerful. You give humans an incentive like that, it will explode. It's unstoppable because of that. It also gets rid of or disrupts some of the existing problems of these massive corporations having control over the internet, what we see, what we read, how we operate, in so much so that they affect our behavior to serve ads to us, create anger, to create fear. And
And if we haven't seen that in this past year, I mean.
Yeah, and also, I find it amazing that people worry about government and giving over our information to governments and stuff, when we've basically given everything to Google and Facebook.
Yeah.
Everything we do, everywhere we've ever gone, what time we get out of bed, what time we check our phones, who we're with, they know every single part. Even those Nest cams in your house, the Nest
creepy,
in your house knows when you're on holiday, when you're back, what time you wake up, what room
well,
you're
know
in.
because the ad pops up 5 seconds after you talked about something with apparently nothing on.
So why does Google own Nest?
Yeah.
Because when you come into your house, what do? You put your phone down. So now it knows where you are in your house at any one point. Things that your phone is not giving you the information of, because your phone stops moving, but the house now tells you where you are. This generation of 30-something-year-olds, the millennials, got screwed over by the system. They have massive debts from education.
Absolutely.
They have no ability to buy property. They have no upside. They've got all-time record valuation in equity markets, real estate markets, bond markets. How are they supposed to make wealth?
Right.
So they are risk takers by nature. They learned it in gaming.
That's such an important point.
Yeah, and so they come at a different mentality. Good for them. They will learn the lessons of what's too much they're betting on their options. They've also learned that crowd behavior works as well, and they can corral a community around an idea and participate together. So I just think it's different. And people look at the amount of options trading and go, this is excess speculation. No, this is a whole different group of people who trade in a different way. Much like when the systems funds and algos came into the market and was like, oh God, they're terrible, the world's going to blow up. No, they still exist, they just trade in a different way.
So you don't think the gamification, people say that like it's a dirty word, the gamification of
course
stock
they do,
trading.
because it's supposed to be about your RIA advising you how to invest, and it should be about value investing and cash flows, and how dare they buy bankrupt companies.
Wow.
I'm sorry, but nobody has the right to tell them what they should or shouldn't do.
Yeah.
That's the point of democratization. Well, because in the end, most people don't care. Ethereum, Solana, Bitcoin, they just don't care. Right now they care because this is the base layer of the networks and you can participate and you've made money from doing so. But the mass consumer adoption is how do I invest in the culture? I don't now need to buy just the Nike trainers, but maybe I can have my Nike NFTs in the NFT.
Wait a second, so explain that, tease that out. For the individual, it's how do I invest in the culture?
Yeah, and so you don't even think of it as investment. You just think I want to be part of
Participation.
this. I want to participate, and maybe I get the tokens for free. Maybe I buy some of these tokens. Maybe they cost me $10. But if I'm a great community member, it's a vibrant community. Let's say Lady Gaga's community, Little Monsters, was tokenized in its beginning. It will have gone from a small group to the largest music group in the world for a period of time. Imagine the unlock of wealth that does for everybody. And you're not robbing the pop star, you're creating new wealth.
That's really important. You're not taking it from somewhere else. This is...
Well, you are taking it from some middlemen.
Well, but that's a great point. But it is for the individual, like newly found wealth that would not be able, a new economic activity that wouldn't exist anywhere else.
20 million rabid fans who have tokens in your network, why do you ever need a marketing budget again? You don't. These guys are going to go onto TikTok, Instagram, anything, and create content around it, try and make people listen to the new song, because the more people who like the new song, the more the tour sells out, the more merchandise sells out, the more the NFTs sell out, the more the value of the token goes up, the more people come into the network. It's genius.